Hello guys, how are you today? So today I'll be explaining the Math Algebra course practice of section 5.2. Now of course this is not for the grade 10s this week or the upcoming week, it's for the finals, and this is for the grade 9s who requested me to do it for the finals that is in this week. So hopefully you guys will do amazing in it and I wish you all the best. So let's start with the first question. Question A. O is the origin and O, A, B, C, D, E is a regular hexagon. Keep this in mind. When they say regular hexagon, that means we can separate it into 6 identical equilateral triangles. Okay, so keep this in mind. Alright, and then they told us that OA is A and OE is B. Okay, so the first thing that they need is DC. Very simply, if you go up, they told us that they need the value of DC. DC is going like this. So as you can see, it is parallel to what? It is parallel to OA. So DC parallel to OA. So because it is also a regular hexagon, then we can say that DC is equal to OA. And we know that OA is A, that means DC is equal to A. Very simply. We got the value of the first answer, which is A. We move on to the second question. They need the value of ED. Now this one is a little bit confusing, but you will see that it's very, very nice. So they need the value of ED. How do we find the value of ED? Remember when I said that keep in mind, because it is a regular hexagon, we will be able to divide it into 6 identical equilateral triangles. So you take this as the center, and then you will draw the 6 identical equilateral triangles. Now what you need to know is that all the sides will be equal. They will all be the same value. Okay, that means this is equal to this is equal to this, and this is equal to this. Please keep this in mind. Okay, so now what is gonna happen? They said they need the value of ED. By looking at the graph that we just drew with the triangles, which two rays or which two lines could possibly give us ED? We know that we will always start starting point with starting point, and then terminal point with terminal point. So very simply, if you find the value of this over here and this over here, then you can find ED. Okay, so let us find this value or these values. Very simply, think of it as parallel. Okay, OA, it is parallel to what? It's parallel to this over here. So definitely, if this is A, then this is gonna be A. What also is parallel? OE. OE, it's parallel to what? It's parallel to this over here. So if this is B, then this is definitely gonna be B. So very simply, ED, it is equal to A plus B. This is all you need to know. That ED, it is equal to A plus B. We move on to the next question, which is OB. We need to find the value of OB. I believe everything will become much easier now. So the value of OB, let me just do it again, better way. As we can see over here, OB can be denoted as OA plus AB. We know that the value of OA is A because it is given to us. However, what is the value of AB? As you can see, it is parallel to what? It's parallel to ED. And we found the ED in the previous question. And we know that ED, it is equal to what? It's equal to A plus B. So because they are parallel, they're both gonna have the same value. That means AB is also gonna be A plus B. So look at this now. You have OA, which is A, and then you have AB, which is A plus B. So that means OB, what you're looking for, it's equal to OA plus AB. OA is A, and AB is A plus B. So very simply, it's gonna be 2A plus B. So very simply, you can say that the value of OB, it is 2A plus B. So it is 2A plus B, this value over here. Now finally, the last part, which is part D. F is the midpoint of segment DC. They need the value of OF. Let us go up and let us see OF. Okay, they need us to find the value of OF. Very simply, this is a very nice and easy question. So you always take the easiest route. In my opinion, the easiest route would be OE plus ED plus DF. We know that OE, it is B. We know that ED, it is A plus B. And finally, we know that DF, it is half of DC. And we know that DC, it is A because it is parallel to this. So definitely DF is going to be half of A. So what you are going to do is you are going to add them together. It's going to be B plus A plus B plus 1 over 2A. So this will give us 3 over 2A plus 2B. Very simply, this is our answer. So it is 3 over 2A plus 2B. We move on to question number 2. They need to find the magnitude of a vector. Very simply, the magnitude of any vector, it is a radical x squared plus y squared. So in this case, it's gonna be radical 1 squared plus 20 squared. So you will put it on your calculator. And you will get an answer of radical 401. So the answer is radical 401. We move on to question number 3. Referring to the figure below, ABC is a parallelogram and O is the origin. Okay, M is the midpoint of AB and CX to XB is 5 to 1. OA is Q and OC is P. Okay, first of all, they told us M is the midpoint. That means this is half of AB. And then CX to XB, CX it is 5, XB it is 1, and in total it is 6. Okay, this is just some of the things we have to keep in mind. The first thing they're asking us is to find the value of AM. Very simply. As you can see, AM, we know that it is half of AB. So before we find AM, we need to find AB. To find AB, we know it's this line, which is parallel to OC, and OC is equal to P. That means AB is going to be equal to P. So very simply, AM, which is half of AB, it's gonna be half of P. And just like that, you find your answer to be half of P. Okay, we move on to MX. Fill in the blank with a whole number. Now this may seem tricky, but it's a very, very, very nice question. MX. They need MX. MX looks like this. It will start here and it will go all the way here. Okay, remember, you take starting point with starting point and terminal point with terminal point. So to find MX, it would be MB plus BX. Very simply, MB, we know that it is half of AB. And we know that half of AB is going to be equal to half of P. And then BX, it is 1 out of 6 of minus Q. Okay, so first of all, it is 1 out of 6. Why? Because it's 1 out of the full thing, which is 6. And it's minus Q because BX is going down, whereas Q is going up. So it's going to be minus Q. So very simply, MB, we found it to be half of AB. So it is half of P. Okay, plus BX, which we found to be minus 1 over 6 of Q. Minus because it's going in the opposite direction of Q. So very simply, we'll put over here 1 over 2P minus 1 over 6Q. Now, we move on to part, I don't know which part this is, but here they are asking us for what? They're asking us for OX written in the simplest form. Very simply, to find OX, okay, this is OX. You can take these two lines. You can take OC plus CX. So very simply, OX, it is equal to OC plus CX. Okay? Very simply, OC, we know it is P, plus CX. CX is going upward, so it's going to be plus Q. But how much of Q? It is 5 out of the total, which is 6. So very simply, it's going to be P plus 5 out of 6, because CX is 5 and the total is going to be 6. Okay? Plus 5 out of 6 of Q, because it's going in the same direction as Q. So very simply, our answer is P plus 5 over 6 q. Now, this one is very, very important. They said AB and OX are extended to meet at a point F. They said they need us to find the value of OF written in simplest form. Let us go up and let us do what they said. They said AB is extended and OX is also extended to meet at a point F. They need us to find the value of what? The value of OF, which is this over here. Very simply, what I would do is I would take the properties of similar triangles, but I would not take the full triangle. I would take a part of the triangle or a line from the triangle. So we will take this line to be OX and OF, and then this line to be BC and CX, or CX and CB. So, very simply, how is this relation or ratio and how do we write it? What we're gonna do is we're gonna say that CX over CB, because it's the same line, it is equal to what? It is equal to OX over OF, okay? So always keep this relation in mind. It's gonna be small over big is equal to small over big. Now, CX, you can find it very simply, or we found it before. What is the value of CX if you don't remember? We know that this is 5 and this is 1 and the total of this is 6. So very simply, CX, it's gonna be 5 over 6 of the total ray, which is Q. So 5 over 6 of Q. Let me write it in another place where I have space. So it would be 5 over 6 times Q divided by CB. We know CB, it is equal to what? It is equal to Q. Now this is equal to OX, which we found in the previous part. So OX, it is equal to P plus 5 over 6Q. Keep this in mind. Then you will divide it by OF, which is what we need to find. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna do cross multiplication, and you are gonna get 5 over 6Q times OF. It is equal to Q times P plus 5 over 6Q. First thing you could do is you could cancel Q and Q. Okay? And now to have OF alone, you would divide both sides by 5 over 6. By dividing both sides by 5 over 6, you are gonna get OF. It is equal to, this is 1P divided by 5 over 6. So on your calculator, if you put 1 over 5 over 6, you are gonna get 6 over 5P. Plus 5 over 6 divided by 5 over 6, which is 1Q. So very simply, the value of OF, it is equal to 6 over 5P plus Q. 6 over 5P plus Q. Now finally, part C. This is unrelated, okay? This is totally unrelated to the above. They said, what is the positive value of H if mx is equal to h minus 3h and the magnitude of mx is equal to radical 490? How do we find the magnitude? It is radical x squared plus y squared. So here it is radical h squared plus minus 3h squared. So you get radical h squared plus 9h squared. So radical 10h squared. Very simply, they said radical 10h squared is equal to radical 490. You can get rid of the radical from both sides. So 10h squared is equal to 490. H squared is equal to 49. Now here, you get h to be either plus or minus 7. You will take the positive value, so it's gonna be plus 7. Or you can put it as only 7. We move on to question number 4. Okay, consider the vector u. What is the magnitude of u? Again, to find the magnitude of anything, it's gonna be radical x squared plus y squared. So if you put it on your calculator, it is gonna be 2 radical 39 squared. You are gonna get an answer of 16. So very simply, the magnitude of u is 16. Now here we come to something new. If the coordinates of the unit vector, pay attention, unit vector in the direction of u. So unit vector in the direction of u are a and b. What is the value of a? Whenever they ask you for unit vector in direction of, or the y factor, or the x factor, or y component or the x component, what do you do? Very simply, if they ask for x component or x factor or a, okay, all of these mean the same thing. What you are gonna do is you are gonna take the a of the above vector, so it's gonna be a of above divided by the magnitude. Okay? Whereas if they ask you for the y component or the y factor or the value of b, okay, in the unit vector in the direction of u, it's gonna be b of above over the magnitude. Very simply, this is what they mean. So in this case, they need a, so we're gonna take the a of above, which is 10, and we're gonna put it over the magnitude, which is 16. So put it on your calculator, you will get the simplified version, which is 5 over 8. Okay, we move on to question number 5. Now here, this is something new. Given the vector r equals 3 minus 0.25, fill in the blanks with the correct numbers. In terms of I and j, vector minus 8r is equal to. They said they need the vector minus 8r in terms of I and j. We've never taken I and j before. Actually, yes, you have. Your teacher probably taught you. Or you just you weren't paying attention when the teacher taught you. It's not difficult at all. All you need to know is that I now corresponds to A and J now corresponds to B. And you will just put it with the number. So for example, in this case, it would be 3I and minus 0.25 J. Now they need us to find the value of what? The vector minus 8R. So you're going to multiply all of this times minus 8. And you will get minus 24I. And then in the bottom, you are going to get 2J. Now, what is the best part, or the nice part about having I and J, is that you can put it in the form of plus. So it will be minus 24I plus 2J. That's pretty much it. So it's gonna be minus 24I plus 2J. We move on to question number 6. They said consider the grid below. Points P and Q are given on the grid, and PR is 2 minus 2. XY is a vector in the same direction as RQ. The magnitude of XY is equal to twice the magnitude of RQ. Fill in each blank with a whole number. They need the coordinates of point R. We are given what? We are given the point P, which is our initial point, okay? Then we are given the point what? We are given the point PR, or not the point, we are given a vector VR, and we need to find the terminal point, which is R. How do we know which one is vector, which is initial? You look at the vector, you will see the first letter is the initial, and the last one is the terminal. Okay? So, very simply, to find R, which is the terminal, we know that the equation is terminal is equal to vector plus initial. So, R is equal to PR plus P. Very simply, PR, it is 2. Let me go up again. So, R, it is equal to PR plus P. PR, it was given, it was 2 minus 2. And the value of P based on the graph, it is 1, 4. So you're going to add them together and you will get the value of R, which is going to be 3, 2. Just like that, you found the value of R, which is 3, 2. Now, the vector RQ. Okay, the vector RQ. We now have the point R. This is what? Our initial point based on the vector. And Q, it is what? It is our terminal point based on the vector. So if we need to find the value of the vector and we're given the initial and the terminal, we will apply the equation that terminal is equal to vector plus initial. So that means vector is equal to terminal minus initial. The terminal points, if you go up and you get the value of Q, it is going to be 4, 2, minus I, the initial point, which is R, its points are gonna be 3, 2. So that means the vector v, it is equal to 1, 0. So that means RQ, it is 1, 0. Now, xy, if you go up, you will see that xy is equal to twice the magnitude of RQ. That means xy is equal to 2 times RQ. You already found RQ, which is 1, 0. So very simply, to find xy, you're going to multiply it by 2. So when you multiply it by 2, you're going to get 2, 0. Okay? We move on to question number 7. They said if a minus 34, b 4, 1, and ac minus 3 minus 6, then what is the value of bc? Very simply, first thing we're going to do is we are going to find c. Why? Because if you find c, you will be able to find bc. How do we find c? Based on ac, we know that c is the terminal point. So c, it's equal to the vector ac plus the initial point, which is a. So the vector ac, it's minus 3 minus 6, plus the initial point a, which is minus 3, 4. After adding them, you're going to get that c, it is equal to minus 6 minus 2. Okay, and just like that, we found the value of c. Now, we need to find the value of the vector c. We know that the equation is vector is equal to terminal minus initial. You have the terminal point based on the vector, which is c, minus the initial point based on the vector, which is b. So c, we found it to be minus 6 minus 2, minus b, which is given as 4, 1. So you're going to subtract minus 6 minus 4, you're going to get minus 10. Minus 2 minus 1, you are going to get minus 3. So just like that, the value of a is minus 10 and the value of b is minus 3. We move on to question number 8. Here they need the coordinates of n given what? The initial point. This is our initial point. And this is what? This is our vector. And they need us to find point n, which is our terminal point. So very simply, we will put the equation, which is terminal is equal to initial plus vector. So very simply, the initial, it's 2, 4. And the vector, it is minus 2, 5. So you add them together and you will get that the terminal point, it is 0, 9. So very simply, 0, 9. We move on to question number 9. They said u is 4, 7 and v is 1, 1. The initial point, okay, of vector u plus v, this is our vector, is at 2, 0. And then we need to find its terminal point. Very simply, this is our initial point. We need to find the terminal point. The equation is terminal is equal to initial plus vector. The initial point, it is 2, 0. Now, our vector, this is a new case. Our vector, it is u plus v. So it's going to be u plus v. You're just going to add them. So to get u plus v, it's going to be 4 plus 1, which is 5, and 7 plus 1, which is 8. So you're going to add them. It's going to be 5, 8. So that means it's the initial point, 2, 0, plus the vector, 5, 8. So you will get the terminal point, which is going to be 7, 8. So very simply, our terminal point, it is 7, 8. We move on to question number 10. What is the y component? Remember, I told you when they ask y component, y factor, or for b, what you're going to do is you're going to take b and you're going to put it over the magnitude. Now here they give us what? They give us r is equal to 5i plus 12j. Remember, I is a and j is b. So if you want to put it in the form of a vector, it would be 5, 12, very simply. So they need the y component, so it's going to be b, which is 12, over the magnitude. Let us find the magnitude. It's going to be radical 5 squared plus 12 squared, which is going to give us 13. So the answer is 12 over 13. Let us submit and hopefully there are no mistakes. And thank God there are no mistakes. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful day.